Hi, my name is Ross Waterston, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel that you're watching today. As we've moved through in semester 3 of our Power BI 101 course, there's a few things we need to kind of cover, and there's some things I want you to see and think about, and I kind of go, right, I understand a bit more now about actually what's going on. Now, one of the things that you guys are probably aware of is that I'm not a big fan of Power BI Copilot at the moment. And mostly that's because, well, it's not a thing. It seems a bit limited in what it can do and what it brings to the table, but it still seems to be something that's there. Now, there are other functions that mimic a lot of that functionality within Power BI that I think are very useful. So let's take some time today and let's look at the decomposition tree and the key influencers visual, because I think those two are well worth understanding and well worth knowing what's going on and knowing that they're there in your arsenal that you can bring them out. But first, the boring bit. Geordie Intelligence is, of course, a YouTube channel. We're entirely reliant on your interactions with the channel, how much you like the posts, how many comments you give, how many people subscribe. So why not give a gift of subscription to your friends? Tell everyone you know. Subscribe to Geordie Intelligence. Really make their day. Please don't. Right? But yeah, you know what I mean? We need lots of interactions. Give us some comments. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what helps you sleep at night. Really important for me to find out. So here we are, yeah, back with the map, the shape map that we did last week. Now, I'll be absolutely honest here. We're a little limited in terms of what we can do, just because this data set is limited. You know, in terms of a real world, hey, we've got lots of information coming in about our products, our customers, like the sectors that they go to, all of that kind of thing. You will find these work an awful lot better. Okay, for this, you kind of got, it's a bit limited. So I'll put that down as a caveat straight away for you. But what I would like you to do, not what I think you would do, what I want you to do is look and see, right, I understand how this works now, and I can see where the benefits would come and why we should use this. And then when you've got your real world data set with your tens of dimensions that you've got around the fact table, as opposed to just kind of 2, you'll find that, wow, actually we get a lot more information, a lot more value out of this. But for now, let's have a look and see kind of where this goes. So let's start with a new page, right? And let's start with the decomposition tree. So we're going to bring this in. Now these are always discussed as kind of the AI visuals. So we've got the decomposition tree here. Let me zoom in actually so you can see where we're talking about. Decomposition tree, and we've got this one here, okay, the key influencers. So we're going to look at those two. The narrative is also there. That's still pretty good. But with the text box side, you can do stuff. It's well worth looking at them. Narrative, we'll probably do a separate video on at some point. I don't know when. Okay. So we've got this decomposition tree. So what we want to look at is see, well, what goes on in terms of, if we looked at sales amount, what breaks that down? So what we can do then is we get to here. So we can start to say things like, let's bring in, explain it by segment. We've got our customer hierarchy, we've got our product hierarchy. Well, let's get rid of the thing, let's get rid of postal code. Just interested in state and city, category, subcategory, product name. Do you want product name? Yeah, we'll leave product name for now. No, let's get rid of product name. We'll get rid of product name. Okay, so we've got some information here now, haven't we? We've kind of built some simple things. You can drag and drop bits and pieces from different dimensions in as well. So we could bring in, let's bring in ship mode as well, because that's always useful to see. Okay, so what we're asking for is we've got sales amount. Now explain this by is what we're asking. So we're saying, well, you know, what's gone on with it? So if we zoom back out now and we see, well, we've got this, great. What do we do? Let's click on the plus. And it comes through and says, well, what do you want to see this by? How do you want to see that broken down? So we can say, well, I want to know this broken down by, say, category. So then we're going to pick category. We can see, right, okay. So we can see now how that total figure breaks down and relative to it. So we could look and see, well, under technology, really, what's going on with that? What ship mode is used? What subcategory? What segment? Let's check segment showing. Okay, and we can see that kind of most of it's going to consumer, which is interesting potentially for us. Okay, we could expand consumer, and we say, well, actually, what's a high influencer or a low influencer for us? So we could say, well, find the fields with the lowest values or find the fields with the highest. Okay, typically you go highest, but we're going to go low this time. So, let's see what's low. We can see Conway. So we've gone to cities, haven't we? So, Conway has got our lowest there. And again, we can right click, and because we built a drill through before, we can drill through to it because we're at that level now. So again, you can do things and your drill throughs will interact with different areas of it. We can't do it from here, but if we had a way of drilling through from there where it could work, it would work. So we can go and drill through. We can choose to say, well, for Conway, what ship modes are we using now? Second class, okay, they're all ship modes. So there's only one, presumably, order that's gone there. We could pick to say, well, corporate. Where's corporate gone? And we can suddenly see that we've got these breakdowns. And then what we can do is we can click to say, well, remove some of these. We can see this. We could look at the consumer. We could choose, well, let's remove segment. And we can get this breakdown of what's going on. And we can actually start to really explore what is going on within our sales. So what is influencing these sales? What makes up these numbers? Yeah, so there's a lot there that we can do with this. And the decomposition tree, for all it seems relatively simple, will add an awful lot of value to your analysis. And especially when you think, well, I can click and see how that relatively breaks down. I can reorder things. It's like we could bring in ship mode, and then we say, well, for same day, well, what category is those? Same day. So mostly it's technology, which we wouldn't be surprised by. Furniture, same day. That's a bit interesting, isn't it? We could say, well, what state? California is the most for that. But we're starting to piece together, and we can see amounts coming through for these values and seeing actually what's going on. And again, remember, this is Power BI. So if we went to, let's go to page here, page 5, let's just do that, okay, which is our relative weeks. Bring that over here, let's paste that there. And let's, with this, key thing I want you to see is it's interactive, isn't it? So other visuals on the page will interact with it. That's the main thing you need to think. So as you're building these up and you start to say, well, what's going on here? You can use this to filter, cross-filter, highlight areas, and actually get a lot of intelligence out of there. But then also knowing that you can bring in, or your tooltips will still, not your tooltips, your drill throughs still work with it. Okay, so that we can say, well, we're at Jonesborough. So if I went and set for Jonesborough and right-clicked and drill through, page 7, you can see, here we are, this is what's going on. So we've got the area highlights that are there. We can see what's happened. We can see as well, because of how we built this, and this is one of the things we didn't really touch on last week, but the nature of our drill through is such that it retains the other filters. You don't need to with those. There's a lot to unpack with drill throughs, and I don't want to do it in just one big session. So in here, we've got cities used as a category. We've got keep all filters. We could choose to have that off, and then it would just keep city. But we've got the ability, haven't we? We can start to really expand and do an awful lot with our tooltips and with our drill throughs to actually really narrow down and get that analysis that we need, so we can really understand what is going on across our organization. This is really where business intelligence really comes through. Okay? Yeah? All right. So what are we going to do with the next one? So let's see. So for the next one, I'll tell you what, let's just let me duplicate this. Okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this here because I think this has kind of got what we would want. I'm going to pick, let's go to the key influences. So we've changed the visual type, okay? And we can see we've got this expanded here, and we can now see what goes on to what's the key influencer for sales amount to increase, okay? And we can say, well, show only amounts of visuals. Here we go. We can pick and look, and we can see relative to other things. So we can see standard class as a key influencer, isn't it? And again, we could pick standard class, we can pick those, we can pick everything else, okay? But you see with this, it doesn't cross-highlight the other areas of the other visuals on your page. So you kind of, if you're going to use this, you often end up having to put it on its own page, but it does go a long way towards helping you understand. We can say what triggers low performance from this. And you see it goes where it's office supplies is low, but where we see art. So our art supplies aren't really going very well. Neither are our fasteners or our labels, but we're starting to get to that point, aren't we? So what's our top segments? So your segments are areas that combine multiple items. Yeah. So if we look here, pick this, see this is where the category is not office supplies and the subcategory is furnishing. So it's furniture basically. And which is where you're going to get to. There's going to be some things here which are of minimum use because it's kind of obvious, but there's going to be some things which are very useful to understand. So here we can see what's going through for a high sales amount. Yeah, so we've got this lots of not, isn't it? So it's not office supplies, not consumer, is standard class, and it's not furnishing. So we can see these are the areas that are having high sales amount. And if we brought in profit instead, for example, which I don't think we have. Do we have profit? I don't think we do. Pretty sure profit isn't there. It is sales. Profit. So we do have profit. So if we brought in, say, a total profit, we could actually then look and see, well, how's our profit come through? Let's do that. New measure. Sum of sales profit. Okay. Then I've put it in the wrong place again. You guys are going to think I'm so inconsistent. Right, let's make that currency, and it's US, isn't it? And let's have 0 decimal points to get decimal places. Okay, so now if we come back to here, and if we say we want to look at profit here, and we can say, well, help explain it by sales amount. Okay, not have my sales amount. We can actually start to see what's happening. So what is triggering? What's the key influences for high profit? We can see copiers get lots of profit from copiers. When sales amount is high, we get more profit, which is obvious, but it's worth noting these things happening. What you're seeing is we're getting different charts and different visuals starting to appear here. And we can choose to copy visuals, we can choose to do things, but you get an awful lot that goes through with it. Yeah. So the key influencers will do a lot of heavy lifting for you, along with your decomposition tree. So let's have a look and see what does the decomposition tree look like now if we do that instead of on sales amount. Let's do it on profit. And remembering this is actually on sales amount, isn't it? That one. So let's put this onto profit. Okay. And again, this is where it gets really useful. You can start to actually understand what's going on with these things. So our profit of 286,000, we've got that breaks down. So we can see standard class shipping has a good profit. So this is the highest breakdown of profit. Technology, California, all these are all things that we can start to see what's going on. And we can also see where you've got areas potentially dipping below 0, which is worth being aware of. Where are we losing money? Where are we actually not making profit? And these are all things that you can do quickly and easily. And again, because we're able to explore this with other visuals, we really do get that deep dive that we need to properly understand what is happening. Now, do you remember the important thing that we've talked about and actually what goes on with this and actually making all this work for you? So we've got all the extra pages, but remember, for our master report, we shouldn't be using it for visualizations. And what we're seeing already is one of the things that we see an awful lot in clients when they first get started is these big reports with lots and lots of pages. Okay, we don't want lots and lots of pages. We want small reports connected to the same semantic model. And because we've got small reports, it means we don't really care if something goes wrong with it. It's just, well, it's just data. Well, not data, sorry. It's just visualizations. And that mindset change is the one that we need to kind of make sure that we really land here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is let's publish this. Hit save. Yep, I'm going to publish this to my, what's it? Demos. This demos Power BI 101. Back to basics. Here we go. Okay, let's publish it back to basics. Okay. So what we've got now in the back to basics is quite good, because what we actually have is something that's going to allow us to kind of emulate what we've got in a really not kind of way. Really, yeah. Bring this down here. Okay. So in back to basics, we've got a record, haven't we, of all the reports that we've published, okay, because we've done multiples by now. Okay, we've published it several times up to the service. These are all starting to appear now. Okay, we can see we've got 3 semantic models, we've got various things. So what we can do is we can say, well, let's go into this week 11 that we've just published. We can see we've got different things here. And I could say, well, what I want to do is I want to I can't do that with a keyless kind. Let's pick, it's on page 6. Let's pick this, okay? So we're going to pin this to a new dashboard. Sample, bullet sample, okay, pin that. Let's go back to here. Let's go to page 5. Okay, we can see, oh, we've got nothing. So what we can do, because this is one of the things you can do with this, we can go into edit it from here. Stuff that we can't see, we can pin that to sample. Okay, and then we can go, let's go back to reading view, come back to here. Okay, so we've got now sample, so we've got this dashboard here. And what we can see as we hover over it is it tells us the information. So we actually get information out from it, which is why we're saying this is like a menu that you've got. Okay, but remember this page we didn't want to, was going to be hidden. So what we can do is we can click here. We can say, let's edit details. We don't want people to click on this and go to that page. We hid it for a reason, didn't we? And we're going to say we want this to go to a custom link. And so within our reports, we can pick something. So we're going to pick week 11 report. But what you're stuck to is it just goes to the first page. Now, because it just goes to the first page, that's why you end up with lots of 1 or 2 page reports. Okay, so we can build up these whole libraries, this menu structure here, so that when people say, oh, I need to see this, they click on it, takes them to the right page. Sorry, I forgot to save, didn't I? Let's go back to there. Edit details. There. Pick something different. Oh. I can use a mouse, you know. This. Let's go to the week 11 report. Apply. Okay. We could choose to edit, add a tile. Let's go to web content. Oh, sorry, let's go to text box, sorry. Geordie Consulting. It's going to be a link, external link. Set custom link to HTTPS. Okay, so we can see, so we've got this now. You click on there, it'll take you to our website. So there's a lot that you can do with your dashboard. So if you imagine that could be to a SharePoint site relative to something specific, it could be to an internal thing as well. It's just external URL just means it's external from Power BI or this app workspace. But you can build them up. You're limited in what you can do in terms of shaping, but we could say, well, let's do this, let's do that, let's put Geordie Consulting up there, let's do that, let's put that down below there. You know, we can have columns, which is one of the things we talk about, columns of things. 2 or 3 wide would be where we typically say is a good width for a column. You know, there's 1, 2, so you've got like 2 by 2s, 3, 4, you know. But the limitation you can use to help make it easier. But if you think what you're presenting is a view of data. So if I come here, remember we set this to be page week 11, this will take us to the home page week 11, which is just this master page. So small reports, lots of different things like that. That custom link that you have could be to another thing, and that other thing could be to another dashboard. And again, you could have a back arrow on that dashboard going back to the main one. So you build up this hierarchical structure that's navigable by the user without them having to really do too much. So dashboards have massive benefit to them, but they're intrinsically don't look right and you struggle with them. But once you start to use them, there's an awful lot there. So what do you reckon then? Okay. Key influencers and decomposition tree go a long way to actually be able to help you zero in on little areas of your business that you weren't really fully aware of. Decomposition tree, especially because of the ability for it to actually filter other visuals on the page, is very useful. Key influencers, you might find you get insights that you weren't aware of, how there's a correlation between these certain things. Be aware, correlation and causality are 2 different things though. What you want to identify as causes. A correlation being flagged for you isn't necessarily the cause. So you still have to do that due diligence and check and understand, is that causality causal? Yeah. So is that correlation causal? Yeah, is that a causal correlation? Yes, I know what I'm saying. Or not. And then once we start to piece those together, we get more information out about what's going on within our data set and within our business. So we can start to piece together that, can't we, using those 2 visuals. And then lastly, obviously we've got this brilliant side coming through of dashboards, which are so misunderstood in Power BI. The things which Power BI has that are just misunderstood, dashboards is definitely one of them. Being able to lay out menus that have specific KPIs at the top level, all surfaced on one page, is amazing, because you can surface data from lots of different data sets or semantic models to one dashboard. Yes, they all have to be in the app workspace, but that's not a big challenge to bring a report through into that app workspace that then has that references data externally. And then there it is, you can tick, 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 bring your core metrics to one, hey, wait, what's the word? Scorecard. And then from that scorecard that everyone wants to talk about and see, you've got the ability to click and it takes you to that report to get that next level down. So for all we're talking columns at a functional level or departments, you could also have like current month, previous month, year to date, say as you menu structure on it as well, or as the rows going down, and then have some core metrics across there for each one, and then have reports on things. There's so much you can do, but again, keep coming back to it, don't we? Standards. Pick a standard that you're going to use in your business because it's important, but you will piece it together and it will work for you because these have the power for it, okay? So I hope that made sense. As always, if you've watched that and you thought, do you know what, this actually really, now I'm starting to understand things I just didn't get about Power BI before, have a conversation with Geordie Consulting. They will definitely help take your business to the next level. Got the QR code there or there, I can't remember, and explain a lot more for you. I should really put this on this thing, shouldn't I? But, you know, have a meeting, take the time, discuss what you want to do, what your vision is. It might be that they're right for you and they'll help. It might be, do you know, I had that conversation and we talk you through and say, well, this will do for you. You don't need much from us. Either way, your business will benefit. For now, though, stay safe, take care, ta-da.